Hey folks, and welcome back to the eye area looksmaxxing series. Today, we're diving into one of the most dimorphic features of the face, the brow ridge. You know that bony protrusion above your eyes that makes your eye sockets look more prominent? Yeah, that's the brow ridge, or supraorbital ridge we're talking about. This bony protrusion is a crest of bone on the skull's frontal bone and serves as a protective roof for the eye sockets. And it's not just for show. The brow ridge plays a vital role in defending our eyes from blows, reinforcing weak bones in the skull, and reducing the risk of catastrophic jaw fractures in a fight. We call this bony structure the supraorbital torus, and it's located over the eye orbits to provide an extra layer of protection against fractures. Now, you might have heard the term supraorbital rim thrown around, but don't be fooled. It can refer to either the outer protrusion of the supraorbital ridge or the supraorbital margin. But in essence, the brow ridge gets its name from its location, right above your eye or orbits. If your brow ridge is more pronounced, that just means it's more visible compared to others. You may have noticed that some people have a more noticeable brow ridge, and this can be linked to higher levels of testosterone in the womb. In fact, research has shown that a more prominent brow ridge, similar to the ones found in Neanderthals, is linked to a more dominant and assertive personality. Now, this bony arch over the eyes typically becomes more pronounced in men during their teenage years, and there's a good reason for that. Testosterone. This male sex hormone is responsible for not only the jaw enlargement, but also the prominent brow ridge seen in men. Women do have some testosterone in their system too, but in much smaller amounts. You may have noticed that in today's humans, brow ridges are not as prominent as they used to be. But don't worry, it still serves its purpose of protecting our peepers. So, why did the brow ridge evolve in the first place? Well, some folks argue that it's because of our chewing. The muscle we use for chewing puts pressure on the brow ridge bone, and that's how it evolved. If you've ever seen a picture of a Neanderthal, you'll notice they had some pretty thick brow ridges. But in modern humans, the ridge is split into two parts and only the central part is visible. Now, there's a study by Hiluwala et al. That looked at what causes the brow ridge to grow. They took a look at 13 adult male skulls from Eskimos of St. Lawrence Island and found that the size of the brow ridge is determined by the ratio of the mandible's power arm to the load arm. In simpler terms, the smaller the ratio, the more the temporalis muscle exerts force and the bigger the brow ridge looks. But here's the thing. Our diets have changed over time. Now we eat softer foods, which means our temporalis muscles are smaller, and so are our brow ridges. Also, did you know that the brow ridge isn't exclusive to humans? Other primates have it too. Back in the day, during the time of the first Homo sapiens, those brows were something else. They were more prominent, bulky, and the skulls were smaller and flatter. But as we evolved, our skulls changed and our foreheads grew longer and smoother. This made our brow ridges more subtle. According to Penny Spickens, an evolutionary anthropologist at the University of York, the brow ridge is one of the defining features that sets archaic and modern humans apart. And get this, Spickens and her team believe that our foreheads played a role in our ability to empathize. As Homo sapiens become a more social species, our foreheads became less prominent, freeing up our facial muscles to better express our emotions. Say goodbye to the days of showing off your strength and dominance with a prominent brow ridge. The evolution train has been rolling, and our ancestors' thick brow ridges have made way for longer foreheads. Why the change? Communication became the top priority, overtaking the need to assert dominance. The brow ridge may have been a symbol of strength in the past, but our ancestors adapted to prioritize connecting with one another. The brow ridge is a one-of-a-kind feature that can look very different from person to person. So, what's behind this diversity? Well, it's a mix of genes, culture, and environment. Genetics plays a huge role in how our brow ridge turns out. Different phenotypes have their own genetic traits that lead to differences in brow ridge size and shape. Some skull shapes, like the Australoids, might have a more pronounced brow ridge, while others, like the Mongoloids, might have a subtler one. Culture and environment can also have an impact. What you eat, how you exercise, and other lifestyle choices can affect your brow ridge. And some cultural practices, like head binding, can shape it in unique ways. In the end, it's the combination of all these factors that make the brow ridge so fascinating and diverse. By the way, men usually have a more pronounced brow ridge than women, but this can vary based on ethnicity as well. And if you're looking for that classic hunter shape, like David Gandy's eyes, it's typically found in Caucasoid skulls that have a more prominent brow bone. In humans, there are 4 main skull shapes that can impact your final phenotype, and I'll cover that in a future video. Under the influence of high estrogen levels, a young woman gains about 35 pounds of fat, changing the shape of her breasts, hips, thighs, and lips. By contrast, a young man acquires about 1.5 times as much muscle and bone mass, controlled by the complex action of androgens and aromatized androgens, acting both directly and indirectly via release of growth hormone on bone and muscle tissue. As a result, the average adult male has a longer and broader lower jaw than that of a female, and brow ridge growth results in more sunken, narrow eyes. Turns out, brow ridge is a pretty telling feature of your gender. If you notice, male and female foreheads don't look the same. Guys rock a brow ridge or brow bossing, a ridge above their eye sockets. Ladies, on the other hand, have foreheads that don't have much bossing, if at all. Men have a noticeable flat spot between their eye sockets, 2 ridges, but women don't have ridges, so they don't have a flat spot either. Thanks to their brow ridge, men have a steeper forehead and a sharper angle between their forehead and nose when viewed from the side. Women lacking brow ridges have a more vertical appearance of the forehead and a more open angle between the forehead and nose. The orbitofrontal cortex is the part of the brain that plays a key role in controlling inhibition, the reward system, ADHD, and impulsiveness. It's located right behind your brow ridge, and a slanted forehead is often a sign of a well-developed orbital frontocortex. This important region is responsible for many important functions and is thought to be closely linked to the way your forehead is shaped. A prominent brow ridge is considered attractive in men, but not so much in women, which is why most men prefer a prominent brow ridge while women go for the opposite. That's because it's a dimorphic feature. In men, it should be prominent, but in women, it's not as important. However, some women with this feature might prefer not to change anything, and in some cases, a prominent brow ridge could even complement their feminine features. Men have more of a squared, pronounced brow ridge, similar to great apes, while women's brows are rounder and more baby-like. Neoteny, anyone? Guys generally have more protrusive supraorbital rims too, which adds to the facial masculinity. Meanwhile, women's eyes appear larger and eyebrows are higher, more arched, and sit above the supraorbital rim. On the other hand, men's eyes have a deeper and narrower look, with straighter and bushier eyebrows sitting right on the supraorbital rim. The difference between male and female brow ridges lies in the size. Most men have a larger ridge of bone above their eye orbits, which creates a steeper angle of the forehead and a sharper angle between the nose and forehead when viewed from the side, called the infraglabellar notch. Women, on the other hand, have a more vertical forehead appearance with a more open angle between the nose and forehead. And if you're looking to get your brows just right, be sure to check out my video on the ideal shape and positioning of male eyebrows. If you've got a forehead that sticks out and a noticeable brow bone, that's what's known as frontal bossing. Having a brow bone that's too big can be a sign of an issue with your bones, hormones, or overall developments. Kids or very young children often display frontal bossing because of underlying conditions. Sometimes a prominent brow ridge and a protruding forehead can be linked to problems with growth hormones. In other cases, it may indicate a severe case of anemia where the body doesn't produce enough red blood cells. There are many potential causes for having a protruding forehead, along with a thick brow ridge. Like these disorders, which is why it's important for the brow ridge to be in harmony with the rest of your face. Check out how more of the guy's eyes are on display in the right picture, giving them a bigger appearance because his brow bone was lifted in the edit. It transforms the look, giving him a bug-eyed vibe instead of a deep-set, mysterious appearance. The reason for this is due to the lack of support from the orbital bones, which would naturally push the eyes further out. Fun fact, the orbital bones are what protect your eyes, and they come in different shapes and sizes. Smaller sockets, like Tom's, gives a wider and more attractive shape than larger sockets, which again depend on the shape of your skull. Are you ready to take your facial appeal to the next level? A prominent brow ridge can do wonders, giving you a more attractive and striking look. In fact, according to Little et al. 2011, a well-defined brow ridge can make you appear more masculine, dominant, and desirable. Not everyone is blessed with a bold brow ridge, but it's a common feature among men. And if you're looking to upgrade your appearance, you can always work on enhancing your brow ridge. So what's the secret to transforming a recessed brow ridge into a more prominent one? Well, buckle up, because we're about to spill the beans. Alright, so let's talk about the methods to avoid the nope tier. These are the techniques that seem like they'll deliver results, but are actually either ineffective or even dangerous. Don't waste your time or money on these, and most importantly, don't put your health on the line. One of the biggest dangers is bone smashing, a highly debated and misunderstood practice based on Wolff's Law. Some folks believe that by exposing the bone to repeated blunt trauma, you can actually cause bone growth. But the reality is, Wolff's Law actually refers to internal bone density and not the shape of the bone. This practice involves hitting specific parts of your face, like your brow ridge, with a hard object to try to change the shape of your recessed brow ridge and make it more prominent. Unfortunately, this only leads to temporary swelling, not real bone growth. And there's no guarantee that you'll end up with the results you're after. In addition to that, you can't really apply enough consistent stress to your face to increase bone density. Excessive trauma can lead to fractures and irreversible disfigurement. And repeated trauma can even cause nerve damage. So, stay far away from bone smashing. It's not just ineffective, it's dangerous too. The cope tier includes techniques that might work, but there's no solid proof. Proceed with caution and mindful when considering these options for your looksmaxxing journey. One such technique is mewing, a popular but controversial looksmaxxing method. The idea is to continuously push the tongue against the roof of your mouth to improve your facial bone structure. Mewing is all about proper tongue placement for facial restructuring. If you stick with it for a long enough time, you may see significant changes in your face. The right tongue posture can lead to basic facial bone remodeling, giving you a chiseled jawline, prominent cheekbones, visible cheek hollows, deep-set eyes, and a prominent brow ridge. This technique, which originated with orthodontist Michael Mew, claims to push the central bone of your face forward and upward for a better facial appearance. However, there is no solid scientific evidence to support the effectiveness of mewing. Despite this, it has gained a following on YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit. Alright, let's talk about another technique that falls under the cope tier. You might have heard of incisors, chewing, and maintaining proper oral posture. Remember, Heluala et al. Found that simple physical movements like chewing can work out your temporalis muscle, leading to growth in your supraorbital ridge. To get the most benefits, make sure to chew with all your teeth, incisors, canines, and molars, and really engage your anterior temporalis. So, if you want to give this a shot, remember to chew up those hard foods and keep a proper oral posture. It just might help you develop that prominent brow ridge you're after. Okay, so the dope tier methods have already been tested and found to be effective. But don't expect these methods to work for everyone. Do your homework or talk to a surgeon, depending on the method, first to make sure it's a good fit for you. Then, if you're a good candidate, go ahead and give it a try. If you're looking to make your brow ridge more noticeable, isolated brow augmentation is a great option. This procedure is popular among men who have flat brow ridges and want a more masculine appearance. In some cases, surgeons perform both brow bone augmentation and forehead augmentation to achieve the desired results. For a more permanent solution, consider supraorbital implants. These surgical devices are inserted into the brow ridge or supraorbital rim to enhance the prominence of the brow and improve the overall look of the face. The procedure involves making an incision on the scalp, creating a pocket for the implant, inserting the implant, and closing the incision. It's performed under local or general anesthesia and typically takes 1 to 2 hours. The result is a more prominent brow ridge that gives your face a defined and angular look. However, keep in mind that there are risks involved with supraorbital implant surgery, such as infection, bleeding, and implant rejection. It's important to discuss your individual candidacy with a qualified plastic surgeon to determine if supraorbital implants are the right choice for you. Lowering your eyebrows can give the illusion of a prominent brow ridge and make you look more intense and focused. When it comes to hunter eyes, which are typically characterized as low, straight, and thick eyebrows, a low brow position really matters. Just take a look at Henry Cavill. Even though he doesn't have typical hunter eyes, his relatively straight and low-set eyebrows still make him look attractive and intense. But why do low eyebrows make a man look dominant and aggressive? Well, it's all about emphasizing your eye shape and adding a brooding and mysterious vibe to your eye area. Many women find this look irresistible. Just check out Sean O'Pry. He's got that hunter eye look down pat, and the low eyebrows only add to his overall charm. You can opt for procedures like hooding or a reverse brow lift to give the illusion of a more prominent brow ridge. You can also reshape your eyebrows or use makeup to achieve the look, which we'll talk about later. But why do some folks have high eyebrows? If you're one of them, it could be because your forehead frontalis muscles are just too active. These muscles are the ones that raise your brows. So, if you're overactive, it'll cause your brows to naturally sit higher. In some cases, excess upper eyelid skin could be the culprit behind those high eyebrows. The brain sends a signal to raise your brows to compensate for the skin that's partially covering your field of vision. Now, there are procedures and techniques available to do just that. While most folks are looking to elevate their eyebrows, you can go the opposite route. Just remember, the exact procedure will depend on what you want and whether or not you're comfortable with surgery. A reverse brow lift is the way to go. Unlike a traditional brow lift that raises your eyebrows, this procedure does the opposite. It lowers them. This is especially perfect for those with high foreheads and eyebrows. Your surgeon will begin by undermining the posterior hairline. Then, carefully moving it downwards and forward until it reaches the desired position. To keep your new look in place, they'll use fixation sutures. Keep in mind, this is a more invasive procedure and requires some downtime. You'll want to be extra cautious during the healing process to minimize scarring. While some people report scarring, taking good care of yourself post-surgery can minimize it. Just a heads up, this procedure isn't recommended for men since a recession of the hairline can reveal the scar. If a reverse brow lift isn't possible, don't worry. Your surgeon may offer Botox injections as an alternative. Lowering brows is a less common procedure, but with the right surgeon, it can be done. Botox is a popular chemical used by surgeons to fix brows. It can both raise and lower eyebrows, depending on how it's applied. For the most part, the goal with Botox is to raise the eyebrows, but in some cases, it may lower them due to improper placement during a procedure. So, how does Botox work? It's not magic, but it does temporarily limit the movement of the targeted muscles. If you want to eliminate wrinkles, Botox targets the muscles that cause those expression lines. But keep in mind, there's a limit to what your muscles can and can't do with Botox. The chemicals need to be placed strategically to get the desired effect. And if you have a brow lift that you're not thrilled with, you can ask your surgeon to inject Botox into your eyebrows to lower them. This can also fix any asymmetry and is a common practice, as no brow lift technique is perfect. Botox is made from botulinum toxin, the same toxin that causes botulism. But when used in small doses by a doctor, it has many medical and cosmetic benefits. It's a neurotoxin that temporarily paralyzes muscles by disrupting nerve signaling. Most Botox injections last about 3 to 6 months before the effects fade. And the best part? Botox injections are minimally invasive, quick, and usually don't require anesthesia. So, if you're looking for a way to lower your brows, consider giving Botox a shot. If your brow ridge or supraorbital bone is too high, don't worry. There are ways to make it look lower and more prominent. You can try applying minoxidil under your eyebrows to make them grow in a lower position. Or, if you already have decent eyebrows, trimming them from the top can make them appear straighter. To improve the look of your brow ridge, try enhancing your eyebrows. Eyebrows play a big role in defining the shape of your face, and makeup artists can help you groom them by plucking, shaving, or applying cosmetics. Using hair growth solutions like minoxidil can give the appearance of a thicker brow ridge by boosting hair volume. On the other hand, trimming your eyebrows can achieve the opposite effect. If you have thick and full eyebrows, you can make them look thinner and lower on your face by threading, plucking, or shaving the upper parts. Keep in mind, this is a delicate process and you may want to leave it to the pros. If you attempt to do this at home, you might end up with uneven, thin eyebrows. A professional at a salon can help you shave, pluck, or thread your eyebrows in a way that will make them look lower on your face, and can also determine if this is possible without affecting your appearance. If your eyebrows are naturally arched, you could consider making them straight. Straight eyebrows can appear lower than arched eyebrows because arches tend to highlight the actual height of the brows. You can reshape your eyebrows to make them straighter and use makeup to enhance the overall shape. Finally, if you don't have enough eyebrow thickness, you could consider an eyebrow transplant. Most people don't realize the illusion you can create with thick, straight, or positively tilted eyebrows. It'll give the appearance of a prominent brow ridge, except when viewed from the side. So, testosterone is the hormone responsible for a lot of manly traits, including the development of a noticeable brow ridge. When we hit puberty, our testosterone levels skyrocket, causing growth in bone and muscles, including the brow ridge. The higher your testosterone levels, the more pronounced your brow ridge can be, which is seen as a sign of masculinity. Now, here's the thing. Testosterone levels do contribute to the brow ridge, but it's not the only player in the game. Genetics and bone structure also play a role, and just because you have high testosterone levels doesn't guarantee a prominent brow ridge. Everyone's biology is unique after all. As for when brow ridge growth stops, it usually happens in your early 20s. So, don't sweat it if you didn't hit your peak testosterone levels during puberty. You still have some time to work on it and make sure it's at its highest. So, if you're looking for another non-surgical way to boost your brow ridge, MK677 might be worth considering. This oral agent increases the release of growth hormone, GH, in the body, which can help build muscle and burn fat. However, research has shown mixed results on its impact on bone growth. If you're looking to take things up a notch, you could consider adding supplements like K2 to your routine. Just keep in mind that there's still a lot of unknowns when it comes to GH and brow ridge. Just remember to do your research and consult with a medical professional before starting any new supplement regimen. Alright, before we end the video, there's a simple solution to help you fake it till you make it. If you're dealing with issues like bulging eyes, scleral show, or a lot of upper eyelid exposure, it's best to keep those peepers covered. Tinted glasses or sunglasses that fully cover your eyes are a great way to do this. And when it comes to glasses frames, square is the way to go. No matter your face shape, square frames can help you create the illusion of a stronger jawline and more defined facial structure. But if you're thinking about round frames, it's probably better to go without any glasses at all. To really fake a strong brow ridge, it's all about the brow lines. Glasses with a prominent brow line can help create the illusion of a brow ridge, even if you don't have one naturally. I've got lots of recommendations for glasses brands that offer this style, so if you want to see a video on it, just let me know in the comments. When it comes to the key options, you've got a couple of choices that can work independently or boost other methods, and these should be your top priority. From a research standpoint, these key options have been well studied, but when it comes to brow ridges, there are no hope tier options. Again, because of the severity of the issue. Also, I wouldn't suggest opting for surgery to get a low-set prominent brow ridge, since let's not forget that your brow ridge isn't the only thing that matters when it comes to your eye area. Hunter eyes are not created by the brow ridge. In fact, the brow ridge is just a small part of the overall picture. The most important area is the upper orbitals, which sit 1 to 3 millimeters beneath the brow ridge and determine whether your upper eyelids are exposed or not. So, what makes a good brow ridge? Well, it's not just about how high or low set it is. The angularity and low setness of your upper orbitals is what really matters. And to make your eyes even more attractive, your lateral/infraorbital rims should be angular and forward protruding. Additionally, the ratio of your orbital's width to height is important, as Slayer orbitals should be wide and vertically narrow, and a positive tilt to your orbitals will give you a positive canthal tilt and a downswung inner canthus. Now, let's not get carried away. A brow ridge that's too prominent can be unattractive, so it's all about finding the right balance. Keep in mind that when it comes to eye area attractiveness, the brow ridge ranks low in importance. You want a brow ridge that's harmonious with your face. When it comes to facial harmony, having colored eyes is one way to improve it. Light colored eyes can add some serious pop to your look and are often seen as more intriguing and lively. Blue, green, hazel, and the like are the most desirable eye colors. In non-white regions like Brazil and Asia, women often seek sperm donors with light-colored eyes. Even light brown eyes can give you a boost in eye appeal compared to very dark brown eyes. Just look at Jeremy Meeks. His light blue eyes skyrocketed his fame. Unfortunately, most non-whites are at a disadvantage in this regard. Colored eyes are known to make up for below-average eye areas. It's true. The good news is that getting your dream eye color is super easy with the right contacts. By finding the most realistic looking pair, you're on your way to stunning eyes. And guess what? I've got you covered with my comprehensive PDF guide. The best resource on the internet for colored contacts. The best part? It's free! Find the link to download it in the description below. And with that, we wrap up this episode. In our next video, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating world of canthal tilts. But before we go, don't forget to give this video some love by hitting the like button. And if you found this helpful, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback means the world to me and helps the YouTube algorithm so I can keep creating content just for you.